Hey, what's up guys? Sloth King here. Today I'm going to be showing you how to reboot your CV axles. It's not too hard of a job for the most part. Sometimes you'll run into something that's like super tricky and it'll just take way longer to do. But typically it'll take you about 45 minutes to do each one if you're taking your time and if it's your first time doing it. This is going to be straightforward on every single CV axle, but I'm specifically working on CV axle for my 4th gen 4Runner. So yeah, there's not too much to talk about, and just prepare to get messy. It is extremely messy, so you want a good amount of gloves, you want a lot of rags, and some patience. So let's get into it and we'll talk more details on what you're going to need to do. Alright, to start things off, I'm going to go through a quick tool list for you guys. So you're definitely going to want a vise. This will totally help you do it, but you can get away with, I don't know, like a C-clamp and, I don't know, just mocking something up if you don't want to spring for a vise. But if you can get a vise super cheap, Facebook Marketplace, just pick one up. You're going to definitely need it later in life, for sure. So main things are, you're going to need some gloves. So everything that I'm going to list off is going to be in the description below for you guys, like I do in every single video. I just need to reiterate that for you guys. So if you don't have anything, you want to get it real quick, just jump down there, click it, so that way you can pick it up. So I got some nitrile gloves on me. You're definitely going to need some of these. It is going to be very messy. Same thing with some shop rags. So you're going to need some snap ring pliers. You're going to need some type of regular pliers. This is the tool I'm using to crimp the clamps. So there's two different types. There's ones that have like plier handles, but this will give you a much tighter and proper clamp. I happen to need a 13mm wrench for this. You can use a socket, whatever. A flathead screwdriver, big, small, just get the old clamps off. You're going to need a razor blade of some sort to cut the boots. That way they're easier to slide off. You're going to need a trash bag or box nearby to transfer the old boots and dirty grease and rags quickly and over there. Brake parts cleaner to clean everything up at the end, and then some sort of plastic to just catch any of the unnecessary grease. And yeah, just a bunch of different rags. And then you can go ahead and get like some cutters. I'll come up with something for you guys. I just happen to have these on me right now, and this is just to cut the old clamps off. And then if your boot kit does not come with the proper clamps, like Toyota specifies, like these are actually the like really good ones. The kit that I got, it came with like these stupid boot clamps, which you can't get a good crimp on it and it's just going to fail. So I picked these up. These are very inexpensive. Comes with 6 of each size, 6 of the bigger ones, 6 of the smaller ones, and I just tested it out just to make sure that I can recommend these to you guys, and these are actually very solid. The ones that Toyota uses are going to be exact size. So if you are working on your Toyota, make sure when you're taking the old clamps off, clean up some gunk, and you're going to see a number on there. It's very hard to see on here, but you're going to see a number like 50 or 100 millimeters or 101 millimeter. So just pay attention to that. And then just pick up some supplied boots, a boot re-grease kit. I'm not going to link that in the description just because they're going to be different types. You can get like the OEM Toyota ones, or go on Rock Auto and find ones for your specific CV axles. So anyways, with all of that covered, oh, you're going to also need a hammer. A hammer of some sort. You can use this type of hammer. You can use like a sledgehammer if you have one. Like a small sledgehammer, like this bad boy. An engineer's hammer. Pick up one of those. Always good to have. And we'll see why later on. So let's stop the talking and dig right into this. Alright guys, so when I was trying to put this CV axle into the vise, this part of the boot kind of ripped off. So we're gonna have to do some improv. So I guess it's kind of good because this is going to be a real world expectation. So first thing we're going to do, we're going to locate the square side of the CV axle. This is the part that goes into your transfer case or differential, and this is the part that goes into your wheel bearing. So we're going to locate this tab right here, and we're going to pry this back just to get it loose. Now that's out of there. We can get this boot free, get the clamp off. This is where your razor blade comes in handy. Just going to cut into the boot a little bit. Make sure it's loose. Perfect. Gonna go all the way around it so that way it unsticks if it has been stuck on with some gunk underneath it. Next, we're gonna get some rags handy. This will get messy. This is the messy part. This is going into the trash can. So I got some plastic down already. Let's get our trash can open, or bag in this case. Let's take this end off. Oh, yep. Set that aside. And now let's slide our boot. Actually, no, we can't slide the boot up yet. We gotta take off our spider gears. So let's let this drain for a second. All right, now we can clamp this into our vise. We got most of the grease out. All right, this is the fun part. So first thing that we have to do is take off some excess grease. Be careful with these. These can pop off. There are little spline like gears in there, and it will be a nightmare to try to put them back together. So we're just trying to wipe off a little bit of the grease on top of it, so that way we can find our snap ring. All right, our snap ring is located. So I'm going to take my little screwdriver and just turn this just a hair more so I can access it. Now this isn't like a typical snap ring with two like little holes in it. This is going to utilize, I have this I have the straight part of my snap ring pliers on here. You're just going to put it right in the middle there and separate it. Careful, it might fling off, so just cover it with your hand. Might take a couple tries. Oh, it's just so greasy. Don't be afraid to reposition it. Then what we can do too, once we get it open, we can pop it up with the screwdriver. Just make sure you're wearing some safety glasses. Wow, the first one was way easier to do. All right, there we go. That's a lot better. So I came up from an angle like this, spread it apart, and then now you can just grab your pliers and then just pop it right up. There we go. That was a pain. All right, so now for these spider gears. So I like to take a paper towel go around it. Kind of move them in so that way they're like that. Cover it up a little bit. Hold them together. Take your hammer and just lightly tap on these up. This boot wasn't in the way. There we go. Slide your boot down. Get a good angle on it so you can hit the bottom of these just lightly. Now in this case, this came up really easy. Sometimes, if it's a newer car, these will be like just stuck on there. So that came off really easy. Keep the paper towels around them. Keep them right over there. And then now, let's grab our boot. Get a couple of rags underneath it. Straight up to the trash can. Boom, done. Wipe off the excess grease. Now we can get to the bottom of the ripped part of the boot and do the same thing as the first one. Pry up these tabs right here. And then we can just grab some pliers or your cutters. Just mangle this thing out of the way. Throw it out. Now we can flip it over to get to this boot. And if you got a minute, this is a great time to clean this part of the shaft. You can literally just grab a pry bar and just go over it. Just get the extra road gunk and grime off. No need to dirty up a brush right now with all this stuff. Brake parts cleaner. Just so we don't contaminate the new boots going on. Alright, this looks like the original Toyota pin or clamp. So you can take your cutters. All right, get some proper cutters. And yeah, before you guys comment, yeah, there's a little surface rust on here. That's fine. We'll clean it up. This is just for like demonstration. So this next boot, this is gonna be a fun one. Pry out the edges. Make sure it's all nice and loose. Beautiful. Feel free to spin it. Get your razor blade. Just make a cut here or anywhere on the boot. And then make some cut down here. Do not cut yourself. Yep, that's cut. Grab a couple rags. Loosen this. Get this out of the way. Slide the boot off a little bit. Oh, look at that. It's pretty dry in there. Oh, that's not good. Right into the trash with that. Keep this open and then just slide any excess grease down in there. Beautiful. And then now we will do our best to clean out any excess grease in here. try to get majority of it out. You can't get it all. All right, let's set that there and let's grab our new boot. All right, here's our new boot kit. We got grease, we got new snap rings and stuff like that. And here's our boots. And these are the horrible clamps I was talking to you about. Don't use these. All right, there's two that you're gonna pay attention to. So we're gonna have this round one. This is going to go on first. So let's just pop this on, bring it up here, and then we can go into the vise again. All right, so there's going to be a ridge where the boot is going to go up and it's just going to stop. You'll feel it once it, see right there? That's where it will want to stay. So before we go ahead and put the clamps on, first thing we're going to do is just pop open one bag of grease. Just cut a corner. Oops, that opened up more than I wanted it to. Going to open this up and then just squeeze our grease inside of the boot. Don't worry about like spreading it around or anything. As soon as the car starts driving, it will spread everything around. And then we're going to slide our boot up. This is the trickiest part. Grab a paper towel or your rag. Just wipe around this. You'll feel it seat and it won't want to go up anymore. And then same thing with down here. We're going to push this up to our little ridge and boom, that's where it's going to stay. Now this is where our clamps come in. We're going to do the bottom clamp first. Oops. Yeah, so if there's air stuck in it, it's not going to want to seal properly. All right, my bad. Camera overheated while I was putting this bottom boot on in mid-sentence. But what I was saying is that when you go to put this on, make sure you squeeze out some of the air so that way you can seat it properly and it won't like pop up or anything or like pop off. So I'm just going to seat this bottom one before I continue trying to put that top part of the boot on because it wants to pull it up. So we're gonna have our clamp. There's gonna be some ridges on here and they will lock into these holes right here. So we're just going to wrap this around. Get it as tight as we can. Make it look clean, make sure it's on that ridge on the bottom. Then right here, they're locked in place. I can still slightly move it, which is good. This is where our tool comes in. Thread this out. And then when we're tightening this piece of the clamp is going to go in between here. And we're going to tighten it and it's going to squeeze it together and it will cause a really good tight seal. That's secured. It's in the position where we want it. Let's start tightening. And we don't want to completely mash it closed. We want a little bit of a gap. So I'll show you what that looks like. See how it's almost all closed? When I back this off, I'll slide down. See how there's just a little bit of a gap in there? It's like maybe not even, like less than a 1/4 inch, like 1/8 of an inch in there. I did not let it like fully close like this. There was just a little bit of a gap in between it. So you want that just like that. And then now we can put our top boot on, or top portion of the boot. It's nice and secured. Grab our big clamp, and then we're just going to, I like to line up these notches so that they're in a line so it looks nice and clean. You don't have to do that, but there's some people out there that like it. We're going to get it as close as we can. We are not perfect with these clamps. That looks close enough. Same thing. You will probably be able to see it better on this top view. Double check the clamp is all on. Let's continue. Just like that. It's going to back off a little bit. Perfect. That's how it should look. And then now we can do the other side. All right, we'll grab our boot, slide it on. This one I will put my clamp on the bottom. I'm just going to wait just in case. So now we can put our splines back on, or our spiders. Wipe off the extra old grease. And it will just slide right back on. And then, actually before I do that, can this come off easily? Well, that's okay. So you saw the ridge that was on the end of the shaft. We're just going to get this piece of metal right below it so that we can put our snap ring on. So just lightly tap it. Right there. See how we can see that ridge? Our snap ring can fit right in there now. And this comes with a new snap ring, so we're going to use it. In my case, this actually has snap ring holes, so this will be a lot easier to install. Oh no! That came loose. BRB. Alright, I found the pin. I don't have an Allen key on me right now to tighten it, but that is okay. So like I was saying, grab your snap ring. In this particular kit, this actually has the holes on it now. It'll make it a lot easier for install. Put that on. Squeeze it wide open. Watch your fingers. And then boom. Make sure it's seated. Beautiful. There we go. That's all you do. Before we continue, let's clean out the rest of the old grease that's in here. As long as the majority of it's out, that is okay. Doesn't need to be pretty clean unless there's dirt in it or rust or anything like that. But feel free, if you want to completely clean it out with some brake parts cleaner, do it. So our grease packet, we're going to add it to the boot. We're not going to put it on top because it's just gonna fall off and make a mess. Now in here, I'm just going to put a little bit on it so that way it can slide in easily. Now we can take this part. Then we're going to line up, see how the spiders have 3 wheels on it. There's going to be 3 notches right here. Oh yeah, the reason why I didn't tighten down the boot is because we're going to have to move the boot so that way it can lock into these ridges. Wiggle it around lightly. Don't force anything down. There we go. Now that's on. We can twist the boot until we find the location for it to slide on. All right, that's where it's going to want to be. Perfect. Now we got that on. Let's go ahead and get the clamp on the bottom. And then we can let the excess air out like it's already doing, and then clamp on the top. Perfect. Last clamp. Air's all the way out. Let's just wipe this off real quick. Make sure it's properly seated. Let's throw it on. Look at that. And you're done. All you got to do now is just clean up the excess grease that you have built up with some brake parts cleaner. Get it nice and clean so that way you can handle it just fine. And then yeah, you just completely rebooted your perfectly fine OEM CV axles. So in this bag, you're also going to see a few more like snap rings. These are just clips that go on the end of this shaft that goes inside of your differential or transmission. See how this one like moves? It's like this half moon thing. This one is actually worn out, so I do have to replace it. All you do is pop it out. You can grab some pliers, just take it out, and then put the new one in. And this just keeps the CV axle locked into the transmission or your differential or whatever. So that's all this is for. And this is just like another spring type. All right, guys, there you have it. CV axles are done. I already did one of them. This is just the second one that I did for you guys, so you can see it. Wasn't too bad. It was just really messy. And of course, every application, wow, I can't speak. And of course, every application is going to be completely different. Sometimes the spider, the spider joints, sometimes you're gonna have to sit there and just hammer on it for a while to get it undone. In my case, these were actually very easy to take off, so I'm happy about that. And yeah, it's very straightforward. Anyone can do this. Now, if you prefer not to get messy, you can go ahead and get new CV axles. But yeah, I figured I'd show you guys how to reboot them, so that way if you want to tackle this, you can do it yourself. It's really not that big of a deal. You just need some tools. And yeah, that's about it. So if you guys like this video and you've done this yourself, let me know. Comment below. Like I said in the beginning, everything that I used in here besides the boots, well, maybe I'll link the boots in there. If you guys have a 4th gen 4Runner that's 4-wheel drive, I'll put those in there, but I will just list it below everything. But yeah, every single tool that I used, I'll throw it on there, so that way you guys can just pick it up, try it out yourself. And yeah, so anyways, if you like the video, be sure to leave a like, subscribe to see more videos like these, and I'll catch you on the next ride.